going on? Hello?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Take Two Radio. I'm Pam, your host, and joining me today as my co-host is my good buddy, David. Hello, David.
Hi, Pam. How are you this fine, warmer evening?
Living, breathing, walking, talking. Ha, ha, ha. Not all at the same time either. Let's see how our guest is doing. Tonight we're so very, very pleased to have with us the young-and-the-restless actor, and an actor in other things as well, Hartley Sawyer. Welcome, Hartley.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm assuming you're still working, huh?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a lot of long days and then some short days? I mean, does it kind of even out?
I mean, the hours are usually not too crazy, but yeah, sometimes you'll have scenes in the morning and then scenes in the evening or whatever. But honestly, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because
no, never, yeah,
no.
Never. I know you enjoy what you're doing, otherwise you wouldn't be in the business.
yeah, because they put you through the ringer.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to know a little bit more about your background and how and when did you decide to become an actor?
Let's see. When I was in high school, I was like 14, and I signed up for this spring musical on a whim, which was West Side Story, and I think I did it because girls were doing it, you know.
Oh.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, which is not necessarily a good reason to do anything, but you know, when you're 14 in high school, whatever.
Right.
But I signed up for that, and I got cast. This is the funniest part. I got cast in it as a shark boy, so I was a Puerto Rican.
Oh.
Which, you know, obviously I'll get cast as Puerto Ricans throughout my career, clearly.
Right.
But no, I just enjoyed it, and I started doing the plays and so forth in high school, and then when I was 17, and we started talking about college and stuff like that, and after high school, what I do, and that's when I really was like, well, you know, I want to be an actor. I want to do this. And, here I am 11 years later or whatever.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of girls when you got into the plays and the theater and stuff like that? Did you find that there was a difference?
It certainly helped my confidence, but I was one of those, I guess kind of an ugly duckling. Like, I was really awkward until about I'm still really awkward, let's be honest, but I was really awkward until halfway through high school. I was like, I hadn't, sprouted yet. I grew like 2-3 inches in the last couple of years of high school and just shot up and leaned out and all that stuff. But halfway through the first half of high school, I was just kind of more reserved, and I wore glasses and that whole thing. So I think it had more to do with maybe the physical stuff than doing the plays.
Yeah. Now, did you end up taking acting lessons of any type once you left school? Or was it
I actually went to college for it. I went to college at Emerson College in Boston, and I majored in theater studies and philosophy.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds good. Then would you think of ever being anything else when you were in college, or just acting was it and that was it?
It was kind of it and that was it, but if I had to start all over, or if I not start all over because I would still pursue this, obviously, but if I had to live a different life, I would probably, and this is a complete 180, but I would really want to be a veterinarian or something like that, to be honest.
Yeah, but I can understand that with, what you tweet out as far as being such a huge advocate of dogs, and especially the pit bulls. I can definitely see that happening.
Well, the way I grew up, too, my grandfather was an equestrian veterinarian, and I grew up on a farm with a lot of animals and stuff, and that's kind of something that I would very much enjoy doing.
Could you see yourself being a farmer?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's basically, I grew up, that's kind of how we weren't really a working farm, but I grew up in that environment doing that kind of work, and I worked on horse farms in the town where I grew up and stuff. So, oh, yeah, I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
Wow.
I mean, that's where I would love to, end up on a ranch or something one day and just kind of live there and be, and die on a ranch.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I want to die on a ranch. Quote me on that.
Yeah. It's funny because my mom used to tell me that when I was younger. You should live on a farm with all the animals that you want to have in this house. And now where I am at today, I'm allergic to almost everything. So it just did a 180 right there. And that's heartbreaking when you grow up with animals and you can't be around most of them.
Did it just change one day and that's all?
No, well, it's pregnancy, so don't ever get pregnant.
I'll try to avoid that.
It changes your hormones, and when I got pregnant with my first son, I became allergic to cats, and at that time I had a cat for 18 and a half years. And I kept her until she passed away. I suffered with my allergies. I didn't care. I wasn't going to give her up. And then when I had my last son, which is my fourth child, I became allergic to dogs. And so I had to give away my German Shepherd because he shed like crazy, and that broke my heart.
Yeah.
But I did have a Shih Tzu at that time, and she didn't seem to bother me as much, and I found out later on that I could have dogs that didn't shed and have as much dander. So now I have 2 Yorkies because my Shih Tzu passed away.
Yeah, I was going to, first of all, congratulations on 4 children. That's awesome. And I was going to ask about, hypoallergenic dogs. Like poodles don't have dander, so they're hypoallergenic.
Right. Yeah, and I had no idea. Here I suffered without having a dog for a few years and really missed it because, I had a dog from birth. And so
me too.
when I found out that, I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to get a dog.
That's great. I love that. But I love Shepherds. I'm sorry that had to happen. Sorry to see that go.
Oh,
German Shepherds are great.
Yeah, they are. They're so much fun, but they're huge dogs. They're a lot to take care of. So anybody that's ever thinking about having a Shepherd, think twice about having a large dog. You got to have enough room for them. Thankfully, I have a house, But smart, oh, my God, they are so smart.
And loyal. And, look at it this way. You could always guilt trip your children if you wanted to. You could always say, I gave up dogs bringing you into this world.
Well,
so
in a way I kind of did because one of the kids, I don't even remember which one it was now, wanted to have a cat. And I said, hey, I think it was my daughter that said that because I have 3 boys and a girl. And I says, hey, blame your brother. We can never have a cat here. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Put them at odds against each other. That's good. That's very good. 3 boys and a daughter. Oh, my God, that poor girl.
Yeah, well, she stands her own, let me tell you. And today is actually her 23rd. Today's actually her 23rd birthday.
Oh, happy. What's her name?
Olivia.
Happy birthday, Olivia. My friend just had a baby, and her name is Olivia. It's a great name.
Thank you. I'll pass that on to her. I don't even know where she is right now. I didn't even get to give her birthday squishes and hugs, so she's in for it.
You got to do that.
I know, right? So let's go back to you. What did you do as far as work before you landed your first role on Glory Daze?
Oh, God, let's see. I came to L.A. about 6 years ago, and I always, it's such a kind of a lame thing to say in a way, but I really have kind of done every job, with the exception of prostitution. I want to point that out. but others, so far anyway. But between working on farms as a kid and then coming out here, I worked at Starbucks. I did waitering. I did catering. I sold custom labeled bottled water. I was a personal trainer, like the moving business. I've kind of done, everything, which I feel like a lot of actors do anyway. You
Right.
what will pay me, and you take that job. So the first couple of years before glory-daze, it was Starbucks and waitering, and then I was a personal trainer for the longest consistent period of time, which I really did enjoy doing. And then glory-daze happened, and I moved on from that and focused primarily on acting, thankfully, thank God.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky in that sense.
Definitely. Do you still work out on a daily basis or a few times a week or something? Because you're in great shape, of course.
Well, thank you for saying so. Yeah, no, I still, in college, I was very much into powerlifting in college, and I'm about 200 pounds now, but I was about 240 in college, so I was quite a bit bigger, and it was pretty much all muscle. And then I started to cut back on that and drop down closer to 200 when I came out here. And I'm still in the gym 4 or 5 days a week.
Well, how tall are you? Because you don't look 200 pounds.
I'm about 6'3", 6'4", right around 6'4".
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
You're very tall, so it's just all throughout your whole body then.
Yeah. No, I'm very long and lanky and everything like that.
Well, what did you learn from playing Brian that you adhered to your acting roles that you had from that point on?
The biggest thing with glory-daze with Brian was the sheer enjoyment of working professionally as an actor, because that was actually the first professional job I ever did, oddly enough, which was like being shot out of a cannon in a really crazy but fun way. But I still to this day keep in touch with most of the castmates from that show, and we formed friendships that we'll probably have the rest of our lives. So I think I just learned how much fun it really can be, and that there is a reward to this whole thing, that you're working for something that may never happen, but boy, it's fun when it happens.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It made me I think the biggest thing it instilled in me was kind of a sense of gratitude, realizing how lucky I was to be there, and how lucky I am to be working, making my living as an actor.
Yeah, because if you think about it, there's so many people that have wanted to be an actor, and unfortunately, it would never work out for them. So I think it's very few people that get to do what they actually want to do, and you're one of them.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
Well, I'll tell you, we definitely love you as Kyle on Young and the Restless. How did you end up getting on the #1 soap?
The audition came along from my reps during pilot season this last year, and they were like, do you want to do a soap opera? Do you want to try out for daytime? And I was like, of course I do, because to be honest with you, I just really want to work. I just really want to be a working actor and try different things. And I've done TV, and I've done some prime time, and I'd never done anything in daytime. However, and this is such a sticky thing to say, but it's so true, I remember growing up with that stuff on in the living room at lunchtime. If my mom was home from work or whatever, I remembered Eric Braeden and his mustache, and I remember.
So your mom watches Young and the Restless.
She would watch, like many soap fans. She was not necessarily a diehard fan, but she would always, if she was home, she would have it on, and she would flip from that and maybe flip to something else after, like Days of Our Lives, or I remember Santa Barbara was on, Another World was on. I remember these shows being on as a kid, and I very much, I like that world, and I feel like the world of soap operas is, first of all, it's a really great opportunity for an actor to act a lot and act often, which, you don't really get that opportunity. You may be a working actor, but maybe you're not acting that often if you're working a couple of times a year or whatever. And for me, it's nostalgic from those experiences as a kid, and there's something about it that's so American. It's like being a slice of like Americana to be involved in the show that I really like. I think it's cool. It's like somebody said to me, they were like, "Oh, cool, you're kind of a part of TV history because this is such an iconic show."
Definitely, and the Abbott family.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you either have to be an Abbott or a Newman. So there you go.
That's absolutely right. So I love it. I love it for that.
Well, we are so very happy that you joined because we enjoy watching you and seeing what's going to come up next. And poor Kyle has no idea that he can actually date his so-called sister.